Welcome to another Pub Sports Radio NHL play of the day for Saturday, September 5th. There's nothing better in sports, and especially in the NHL, than a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and we have yet another one, the third Game 7 in 2 days in the second round of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. It's the New York Islanders and the Philadelphia Flyers. The winner advances to the Eastern Conference Final to face the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Islanders are minus 125 favorites, total 5 here for Game 7. And there's definitely been a momentum shift in this series toward the Philadelphia Flyers, who are coming off back-to-back overtime victories to save their season and force this seventh and deciding game. A 5-4 overtime win for them in Game 6. Erasing a 3-2 Islanders lead to tie the game, and they end up winning it by a score of 5-4 in overtime. They were down 3-2, they tied it. They were down 4-3, and they tied it once again. Great resilience by this Philadelphia Flyers team. Alain Vigneault said earlier in the series that he needed more from his top players, from his best players, namely Claude Giroux and James Van Riemsdyk, among others. And he got those step-up performances from them the last couple of games. We've seen this Philadelphia Flyers team finally step up, score some goals, something that's been an issue for them. It's been a challenge for them throughout the playoffs, really, even going back to the Montreal series. You know, it's not like this team absolutely lit it up offensively, but they did enough. They scored just enough, and they relied on a pretty solid defense as well as a goaltender, Carter Hart, to be the reason and the backbone behind their victories. But now they're starting to get their goal-scoring production going at least a little bit the last couple games and bouncing back to force a Game 7 in this series. Very impressive, too, that they did it without Sean Couturier in the lineup in Game 6. He missed that game with the knee injury that he suffered the previous game. He's questionable to return here for Game 7. Obviously, the Flyers are hoping they can have him back on the ice, but that is not a certain thing as of yet. And a breath of fresh air for the Flyers, and certainly a situation that I think gave them an emotional lift and a boost of energy, if you will, for that last game, was seeing their embattled teammate Oscar Lindblom, who was diagnosed with cancer, hasn't played an NHL game since December. He was on the ice participating in Game 6, and certainly it's definitely brought the team a little bit of a emotional boost, if you will. Not that you should need one, with playing a Game 6 to try to stay alive and keep your season going, but it definitely didn't hurt Philadelphia having him on the ice in Game 6. For the New York Islanders, they're going to be thinking to themselves, we should have had this team finished off already. We were up 3-1 in this series. We lose back-to-back games in overtime. We outshoot the Flyers 53-31 in Game 6, but we end up losing in overtime. And now the question is, is their confidence fragile? Is their confidence shaken a little bit? I don't think it is. They've got a very experienced coach in Barry Trotz. It's a team that's been very adept at putting losses behind them and bouncing back. I think if they get right back to playing the same kind of game they played in Game 6, a game that they clearly could have easily won, they've got a shot here in Game 7. And it's worth noting, people talking about momentum with the Flyers. Momentum didn't pay off for Colorado yesterday in a Game 7. Momentum didn't pay off for Vancouver in a Game 7 yesterday. The teams that came back from a 3-1 series deficit to force a Game 7, they both lost in Game 7 yesterday, Colorado and Vancouver. I'm not saying that's going to happen to Philly, but momentum, you got to be careful of just buying into that as your primary argument for liking Philadelphia here tonight. I got to just stick with the team that's been controlling this series more often than not and has played better for longer stretches in this series. That's the New York Islanders. So I'm going to lay the $1.25 price with the New York Islanders here in Game 7, and also over 5 at minus 105. I am not going to be passing up betting it over with a total of 5, a very low total in an elimination game very often. You could get a goal-scoring explosion late to help your cause, even if this game is 1-1 or 2-1 in the third period. So I like the over 5 minus 105, and I'm going to back the New York Islanders to do what Dallas and Vegas did yesterday, and that's bounce back in Game 7 despite coughing up a 3-1 series lead I'm going to go with the Islanders to finish it off tonight in Game 7 as well as the over. That's your Pub Sports Radio NHL plays of the day, side and total for this game. Pub Sports Radio NHL plays of the day for Saturday, September the 5th. I'm Ian Cameron. Thank you for watching. Reminder to check out pubsportsradio.com daily for great content. And I'll be back with you tomorrow on Sunday as we tee up Game 1 of the Western Conference Final. Dallas and Vegas. We'll preview that tomorrow with the next Pub Sports Radio NHL Play of the Day.